So, for quite a while, I wanted to talk about Hillfirebrand. I think there is the notion that Hillfirebrand isn't a good healer, and I have a lot of thoughts about this subject. So obviously, we are going to start with talking about Hill Chrono first. But more seriously, I think the first point I want to make is that, unlike a lot of other healers, Hillfirebrand has a lot of trait options and a lot of weapon choices and a lot of utility options. Like, for example, Hill Chrono, why I'm here. You go rifle, second weapon doesn't even matter, I think. For me, is Greatsword for Boon Strip on Temple of Ibcm. I will talk about raids and strikes, by the way, not about fractals, and not about Harvest Temple, and not about Temple of Ib. So, as I said, rifle, the other weapon really doesn't matter. I mean, some people go scepter, shield, but the only thing you get there is some might at the start of the fight, and some swiftness, but not 100%. For most fights you will usually go flock if you don't have swiftness from your subgroup. And the traits are kind of straightforward, like you have to go this trait, you have to go this trait, you have to go this trait. This is the only trait you have options in, and like usually the heal and the convict lens is way better than the resistance, unless you are on fractals, but even then this is too good to pass up. This is your own, then all of those are basically your only choices. And let's look at the utilities. If there is CC in the fight, you go Moa. If there is no CC in the fight, you go Time Warp. And even if you stay with Moa in a fight without CC, it doesn't matter, because if you are quickness heal, you have enough quickness to give to your entire subgroup. You don't need a Time Warp as extra. And if you are Alacrity, quickness isn't even your responsibility. And the super speed is nice, but doesn't really matter. The cooldown is way too high as well. So it doesn't matter what you choose. Like, as long as you pick the correct few choices that you need to make, like a heal mantra, like going rifle, like going precog, the rest matters way less. And while you have a lot of utility here, you don't really need to give up something. Like, you have stability on shatter, on distortion, and you have stability on precog. So it's not like I need a stability mantra. So basically you need reflect, you go feedback. You need portal, you go portal. You want more mobility, you go blink. You can go even mantra of pain for extra healing, but it all like kind of simple. Like, you don't need to think a lot. Like, you think about your boons. Might is basically well of action, rifle free, and split second. Your alacrity and protection coming from playing the game. Your regen, like, you just fart regen with every skill basically. Like, you don't even need to think about regen. You don't even need to think about Fury. Like, you have so much of all of those, so it doesn't require a lot of skill to play this build in the lowest level. And for another example, you can go Hill Scourge, and look, doesn't really have a lot of options. You have 3 main hand options. Let's see if I can find my Scourge. I think it's this. The only choice you have is this, which doesn't really matter. Here, you don't have a lot of good utilities, like stability, if you need it. If not, you can go Res Signet, but you don't really need a Res Signet because you have Garish Pillar. And like, here you can go for vulnerability, but on any boss you should have 25 stacks regardless. And all of your boons coming just from spamming all of your skills. If I will go here, I just, let's see, I do this, I press everything. Yeah, I have all the boons I need, basically. If I had a target, I could use Torch 5 as well. And you do have options in your weapons. You can go dagger, you can go swords, and you can go pistol. But the amount of fights you need, immobilize or boon strip, are minuscule. So you can basically go swords or pistol, and it won't matter to anybody that you don't have boon strip. Or you can just give up sword, because I know half the players are playing with the auto targeting, so they can't even use sword free for mobility. So even that is not a big deal. Now let's go to heal Firebrand. Alright, take Firebrand, need some time to load, but let's see your options. Here doesn't really matter, this trait is pretty straightforward. Here, I go for this trait, Snowcrow goes for this trait. This trait is technically an option, but you all usually go this trait. This trait is option, this trait is an healing option. This trait is the main one you will go for, but here you can go either of the three for a healer, and here you can go either the two of those. Now, I want to talk about my build. That will be the second part. I want to talk about my build. I think I'm stuck here. Yep. Let's blink. Let's go. Oh. Right. So now let's talk about my build. The build I'm usually running is something like that, and I'm running Mace shield and stuff. But the build is vastly different than the Snowcrow build. Let me open it on my second monitor and just find it. Heal quickness Firebrand. They're running X. The main differences are X main hand instead of Mace. They're running the lesser symbol of protection and Stoic Demeanor and Weighty terms. Those are the main differences. Now, I know not a lot of people will agree with me on all of those changes. You probably will agree on some and disagree on some, and at the end of all of that, it depends on the fight itself and your personal preference. But I will go over my changes one by one, and I will explain why I think they are correct, or at least more optimal for most of the fights. And yep, you can choose to adopt some of them to your build. You can ignore them if you want. And I will go in order from, in my opinion, the most easy, the most obviously optimal traits to the more contentious parts. Like the more parts that I think someone will disagree with me. So we start with the first one. Loremaster for sure takes Stoic Demeanor, especially if you are running X. Now I will go to here. Let's see if I can get into a raid area. Can I go straight? Nope. Aerodrome. Let's see, didn't really need to go here, but just for the sake of, while I'm talking about those stuff, I can show also some stuff. Quickness, and I will put a golem. Alright, so First of all, while I'm attacking with the stuff, I will talk about Stoic Demeanor. The main reason people are using it is might. It's not the resistance. For most of the fights, you don't care about resistance. Only in... Oh wait, I forgot something for my example. For most of the fights, you care about the might, you don't care about the resistance. Even if you need resistance, it's usually at a specific spots. And for that you have Tome 3, Skill 4. You can also go Spear. I forgot Adjust Self, Add Boons, and Fury. So the main reason you are running it is might. Now let's talk about might. I think the build has more than enough might without it. You can see empowering might. Even the lowest estimation, I'm not using any skills, just auto attack from stuff. If I were to use symbols and stuff, it will probably give me more. We can try, for example, this. You can see it goes up to 6, 7, 8. But I think it's safe to say that at least 5 stacks you get, at the bare minimum, you get 5 stacks from this trait. Now, you can do the calculation yourself, but with 100% 100% alacrity uptime and 100% boon duration, using all the charges of cooldown, you get, I think the calculation was 15, 16 stacks of might. So just with the two of them, just with this trait and the potent haste, which you are always running, you should have 20 stacks of might. Now, if you need more, you go Tome of Justice, skill 5 is 10 stacks. It's 8 stacks of might. I'm running the legendary lore trait, so it is 10 stacks. But just potent haste and the epilogue should give you basically 25 stacks of might, not including the might you get from activating this tome, and not including using other skills, not including your teammates, which again, in theory you should be able to give 25 might, but in practice your team will give extra might to your subgroup. Might be the other healer, if a teammate of his is doing a mechanic, so the other healer will spill some might. Might be the DPSs, might be the Alak DPS. But you have, at least from those two skills, this trait and this skill, 20 stacks of might, and this give you an extra, at least 8, technically with Alacrity is a bit more. And you can also blast with skill 4 and skill 2 because they made a blast finisher, so you get extra, I think, 3 stacks. And all of that without legendary lore. So yeah, now let's talk about what you also lose. You lose the courage passive while this tome is on cooldown, which is pretty shit, the passive. Aegis is mainly good when you can decide when to give it, and getting it randomly on a cooldown of 40 seconds, which nobody will track, is kinda useless. And let's see what you gain. You gain almost double the pages generation. You get 5 seconds instead of 8, which is a huge increase of page generation, and you get the resolve passive on cooldown. Why is that important? And that's my second point. The Snowcrow build runs Mace and... let's see, let's equip a Mace. For example, the Snowcrow builds run Mace, and they run Stoic Demeanor, and they run Weighty Terms. So your only regeneration in this build, if you are not going for the Mantra of Lore, which is a shit mantra, and I will explain why soon, is using F2. Activating F2 gives and using skill 3. Now that means two things. First of all, you want to dip into Tome 2 not every 2 seconds, not every 8 seconds, because it's 12 seconds of regen with 100% boon duration, but you want to dip into that pretty often. I guess every 12 seconds, probably you want to have some surplus of regen. So around every 10 seconds you want to dip into the skill. That means this passive will always be on cooldown. And you're running almost a full trait line just to make it stronger and to make it AoE. Like this and this, like almost the entire thing. This is, I mean, good for the CC, but if you're not running concentration, it's pretty shit. So yeah, this and this are both shit for heal firebrand. So yeah, this entire trait line, and if you're running Stoic Demeanor, you're not using any of that, which is basically another regeneration and mini vigor. So you're losing that, which is a lot of heal. Now, yep, and you also want to dip into that for vigor as well. So if you want to give regen and you want to have your passive, you have to go Mantra of Lore. Mantra of Lore is bad for the simple reason Conti Cleanse is pretty bad, and I think like you go Wing 1, you don't need any Conti Cleanse. Wing 2, you need it on Sloth. Wing 3, you don't really need it. Wing 4, you don't really need it. Wing 5, it's nice on Solace Horror. Doom does also some conditions, but during the big dip you just use any of the tome skills, so you don't even need the Mantra of Lore. And 6, 7, are mainly power damage, like the damage that you take is power. Sabir, Adina, both of the Kadims. So yeah, Mantra of Lore is useless for most of the fight. I guess also in the second EOD strike in Junkyard, this can be useful. But other than that, Condi Cleanse is useless. Even if you need a Condi Cleanse, activating the Tome does Condi Cleanse. Skill 5 does Condi Cleanse. Skill 2 does Condi Cleanse. Pretty good Condi Cleanses as well. You have Condi Cleanse on blasting light fields, which you have a lot of. Like you can skill 2 into Tome 2 and Condi Cleanse as well. You have Spear 4, which is a Condi Cleanse. If you're running stuff, you have skill 3 into skill 2. Like, you have so many Condi Cleanses. And so Mantra of Lore is just a regen bot. So you're wasting an entire utility slot for a regen, which you can get in a lot of other ways. So that's, in my opinion, the easiest swap in the game. If you're running the Resolve, again, you can go into Tome 2, and you can use 1-2 skills, go back, do whatever you want, and you will still have the passive. Second choice, more contentious. I don't really like Weighty Tiny Orbs. I mean, if you're not running Stoic Demeanor, the slot does basically nothing, and you just get the extra 2 pages every 16 seconds with Alacrity, I guess, because you're not maxing this skill, and you're not running this skill because it's bad, and you're not using the last charge of this, so it's only from the quickness mantra. And again, 2 pages is not a lot. If you ask most Fire 1 players, I can bet that they don't know this trait even exists. And while you don't need any, you can get any of the boons here in other ways. It's nice to have always extra, in my opinion. Especially if I will do the video that I go over random logs from Wingman and look at protection and regen and might uptime of players. And again, it solves the might problem that you don't have Stoic Demeanor, so you can go Tome 2 into Tome 1 into 5, 4, 2. It's 21 might. That's basically almost all you need. Makes your life way easier, and that's that. I think also a really easy choice. And now we'll go to talk over the more contentious topic, which is both swapping Protector Restoration with Invigorated Bulwark and not running Mace, which I know is what 90% of Hillfirebrand players are using. I think Mace is shit. I think Axe is shit. I think Mace is really good. It's getting buffed pretty... It got buffed like twice or 3 times. Alright. So let's talk about protection and regeneration. Now, if you're running the X build, the Snowcrow build, your only protection sources are the heal mantra and the symbol of protection. Technically you have Summon Tome free, but the Snowcrows doesn't really talk about that. And I think they don't want people to go and waste all their pages on protection. But which makes sense. But I don't understand why not just go Mace. The obvious answer is you don't have Fury, which is true. Like, you have... That's why I gave myself Fury at the console, and that was for this trait, because you need to critically hit a target for might. The only source you have is Feel My Wrath. And I think, while Snowcrows can never post a build and say, trust on your teammates for Fury, I mean, they can, but they won't do it because they are an official site, and then people will come to them and say, oh wait, I played with this group and I didn't have Fury and it's all your fault. And before I continue, I just want to say, from what I talked with some Snowcrow members, like, they are pretty chill, no hate on their builds. They also, I think, I was discussing Hill Tempest once, and the creator of the build told me, yeah, that's what I run, there might be more optimal builds, you can also change it so however you like. Again, nice people, however, they can't like post a build and tell you, trust your team to give Fury. But I'm nobody, so I can tell you, trust your teammate to give Fury. Like, you are already giving like 30 seconds, you divide it by 5, get 6 times. This skill has 24 seconds cooldown with Alacrity, and you give 20 seconds of Fury. You will have probably 90% of Fury without your team, and the list of classes that give Fury is insane. Like, I can go here, I have the Fury tab open from before. Alright, let's go over the classes. Now, you are a heal quick. That means you're playing with Alac DPS. Let's see which Alacrity DPSs give Fury. If you're playing with Power Guardian, you have Fury because they run the symbols. The Greatsword and Sword, I think. Condi doesn't have it, but Power should have Fury. Revenant, if you are running with one, you have a Renegade, and they have the, let's see, they have this trait. And that fills up the rest of the Fury that you need. Warrior doesn't have anything, but the last time you saw Bladesworn was on release in EOD. Mechanist the mech gives Fury. They also have I think it's No Scope. They give, with this trait, they give 50% Fury uptime without boon duration. And I think with boon duration, you reach like 100% Fury from your Mechanist. Untamed doesn't give Fury. I mean, technically you can, but realistically, Untamed won't give Fury. Fifth gives Fury with the Steel. If you're playing with Spectre, they have more than 10, they get 10 seconds of Fury, and the cooldown for Steel is like 11 seconds without Alacrity. And they are probably running boon duration because Fifth needs some boon duration to keep up Alacrity. So they will probably do 100% Fury as well. Elementalist, Tempest give Fury. Mesmer, they have a trait that give AoE Fury. Necromancer doesn't. And also, like, not even including Alac DPSs. If you are playing with any Power Guardian, any Renegade, if you are playing with any Engineer, basically, especially mechanics, but any engineer is running no scope. I think both Condi and Power are running this trait. Any Mesmer, which is may or may not be the most popular class right now with the amount of virtuosos, and Power Tempest, which is really strong class. They have it on the Fire Shout. Like, you should have Fury. Like, even spillage from the other subgroup should give you enough Fury. I'd never been in a fight that I didn't have 99% Fury all the time. Like, I go over logs, and like, Fury is never an issue. Like, it's insane how much Fury every class gives. So I think not having 100% Fury uptime is fine. Let me just up my boon duration. So it's nice, 20 seconds. Yep. I think that might be more bold to say, but even if you didn't give any Fury as a healer, you would probably have 100% Fury uptime on your group. But you have this skill which gives almost, I guess, 80% uptime. Something like this. So you have one skill that gives 80% uptime. The rest of your team will give the last 20%. So that's why I think the Fury from the X doesn't really matter. Now, you lose the pool as well, which is 150 break bar damage. And it is nice, don't get me wrong. But first of all, if you need major amount of CC, you just go Sanctuary, which you can run now because you don't need to go for this shitty utility skill. And instead of having the 150 from the pool, you can have the almost 1k CC damage from Sanctuary. So like, yep, running Mace and Sanctuary is way more CC, and you get the regen from skill 2. And running Mace, running X and the Mantra of Lore, you get 150. And also, like, 90% of the players doesn't know skill 5 now does 200 CC. And apparently ANET don't know that because they didn't think about typing it on the skill. You are basically supposed to guess. Like, if you read the tooltip, you are supposed to guess this skill does CC damage to defined foes. But yeah. They also buff the taunt CC now. I think it's 100 per second, which is nice. So you still have decent amount of CC. And the 150 doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Grand scale of things. So yeah. You are losing Fury and the extra CC, which are a thing. Like, I can say it's objectively better Mace, but I think you gain way more. You gain healing on auto attack, not really good healing, but still healing on auto attack better than the nothing you gain on Mace. You get Symbol of Faith, which is a really good heal skill now that they gave it a heal on impact. You gain 100% regen uptime. You get, right, that's the wrong trait. With this trait, you gain more regen, and you gain Protector Strike, which is one of the best healer's skills. It's basically, you do a channel. If somebody is getting hit in here, the hit is getting blocked, and then you give Aegis and protection. Now, this skill is getting you the rest of the protection you need to 100%. I think skill 3 and the healing mantra should be enough for 100% protection uptime. So you get 100% protection uptime and 100% regen uptime just from running Mace. You get Aegis on cooldown of 12 seconds, which is technically AoE block, which isn't really, is a unique utility. I won't say it's super important, but on something like Deimos, you can use it, and then if the block gets stripped, you give your teammate Aegis, which is like an extra layer of protection during the Mind Crash. So again, while not useful, it's really nice to have on 12-second cooldown. A double Aegis basically, and a lot of healing from auto attack and skill 2. And yep, 100% protection and regen, which I feel like every heal firebrand you play with doesn't give. And that's that basically. Oh, also the most important part. You can get rid of this shitty trait and you swap to this trait. 25% extra healing to others. Like, it's really easy to stack this buff. In case people didn't play with this buff, it's really easy to stack it. The time you need the extra healing to others is when it's even easier to stack it. 25% healing to others is insane. It's 2.5 Relic of the Monk. It's a Grandmaster trait, almost double. I guess this one is 17%. And does it combat only? Anyway, this trait is, alright, now it's updated. 19%, almost 20. And it's Grandmaster, this is 25. And you get the reduced recharge and you get the duration increase for your Mace skills. Insane perk. The fact that I know why it's not getting run, because if you think about it in the reverse order, like if you are running Mace, you want to give Fury. It's all about the fucking Fury. Like, you want to give Fury 100%, so you have to go Mace. If you have to go Mace, you can give protection, 100% protection with only this and this. So you have to go for this trait. Now you have to go for this trait, then you don't give regen. And that sucks, honestly. That's what I can say. Like, I understand why they made the choice to go for lesser symbol of protection, but just sucks. So that's my build, I guess. I'm usually running Real Signet and both Truth. Yep, that's it. I think you in general get way more healing, 25% to others. You get way better regen and protection uptime. You get more pages. And you lose some might, some resistance, which is not useful. Some Condi cleanse, which is not useful for most of your fights. And some CC, which is nice, but I mean, you get an extra utility slot and you gain permanent the Tome of Resolve, which you don't turn off because you wanted to give some vigor to your team. Or regen or whatever. Also, to add to the last video, and since I'm already here, I want to record some more parts. Wanted to talk a bit about Spear. I think Spear can be used. It's a decent healing weapon. I think on terms of healing, you get way less burst healing than Staff. Staff is really good healing skill. The numbers on those skills is pretty good. And if you are running Spear, you get some things. Like, you lose the range heal, you lose this 600 AoE, which is nice. You gain more consistent heal, with this skill. The heal here is pretty good. I think healing per second terms, you get the same as the chrono rifle, auto attack. You gain the illuminated healing, which is pretty easy to trigger, especially in PvE fights, and is really good. Resolution you gain, it's nice, but basically worth nothing. Can pretend resistance is useless and resolution isn't, so yeah, the resolution is pretty useless, but the healing is pretty good. You gain permanent Fury. Again, all of the Fury conversation from before can be nullified if you go Spear free. Which I think is fine if you want to, like, if you need a Fury, you see your team doesn't give any Fury, you can go for this skill. But I think the issue for me with Fury is that people assume you won't have it. If you, like, they assume that Fury is something that you really need to maintain and care about, like protection, regen, and might. But usually 99% of the time we'll have it anyway. So that's why I didn't want to include it in the main video. But yeah, can give some fury. This is nice. It's a Conti cleanse, but I hate when Init gives skills healing only if you remove conditions. It's nice in PvP, but you will never get, you won't really get the healing on condition. I think, yep, this skill also have healing per condition. They also give it to some of Herald skills. Just give it the condition cleanse and the healing. I just find it weird. Like, you probably also want to use skill 5 to convert the conditions into boons. But yeah, and if your teammates doesn't have any conditions, you don't get any of the healing. Skill 5 is nice, but not really special. You get some healing from the symbol skill. It's mainly for the illuminate. Is nice. The push is nice, but it's not a lot of CC. The symbol is nice, but it doesn't pulse the resistance. So it's not like you get 35 seconds of resistance. You get only 7. The dashes are... Wait. My alt is locked. The dash is actually nice. I mean, it's pretty bad. Considering blink or any other healer mobility. But relative to the fact you don't have any mobility on Firebrand, and this is one of his weak points, the fact that you barely have any mobility unless you swap some of the utility skills. Yep, you take what you can get, which is 600 range dash apparently. But yeah, it's also an option. I think in general stuff is stronger because if you want consistent, you have a lot of overtime healing, especially with the Mace weapon set, and you might want stuff for the bigger heals. So when you know, for example, Veil Guardian Greens or something, and in this case you just prefer to run stuff. So I think stuff is the better weapon out of the two. But if someone told me they prefer to use spear, I can completely understand. A decent weapon overall. Alright, so every time I stop recording and then I find myself wanting to say more stuff that I forgot about Heal Firebrand. So this is basically the third part, which will be in one video. I wanted to talk about why I think Heal Firebrand is decent at the very least. I don't think it's top meta healer or something, but I do think there are fights where Heal Firebrand can perform better than Heal Chrono, for example. I think Alright, let's go over the benefits, basically. You get decent healing. Chrono has more healing, but you have enough for any fight in the game. I think including Temple of Fib. But obviously in Temple of Fib you need the portal, which Chrono has and Guardian doesn't have. So that's there, but any other fight, Bone Skinner for example, I think it's really bad metric to say healing per second. I did reach 9k healing per second on Bone Skinner, and because that doesn't include a lot of stuff like Aegis, and that doesn't include how good the other healer is, and how much people are dodging attacks. So I do think like 9k is obviously possible. I think you can reach more than 9k on Heal Firebrand. So it should be enough for most fights in the game. Actually all fights in the game. But it is lower than Heal Chrono. So that's that. Now, benefits. Let's see. Main one is the fact that you can just drop all of your quickness. Let me remove my quickness. You can drop most of your quickness and go back, adjust self, move my boons. You can drop most of your quickness and do mechanics while heal chrono is more gradual. You need to cast shatters with what's the name? With illusions, and you need to cast phantasms. And you can obviously cap 30 seconds easily, but it does require the slow uptime to do that. And if you need to go for a long mechanic, you can just dip back in, give boons, and then go back out. Like with Fireband, you just, I don't know, you need to kite a mechanic, you come here, you do this, and you have 30 seconds, and you go away for 30 seconds, and then you come back again and do the same thing again. I think you also get one of the strongest reses in the game. Probably the druid res is better, but 15 seconds is nothing to scoff at. It's better than the Scourge one, better than obviously the Mesmer one, Illusion of Life. It's a bit iffy. 15 seconds is nothing for a res. You get both Truth, which is the best healing skill in the game, I would say. Like, I think the numbers are insane. I checked it in the wiki before, but I think it's around, you gain 3k base healing, and then you get 2.25 of your healing power. So you basically get 6k heal without every other increase to healing that you have, relics, enhancement and stuff. The range of it is huge. Like, rifle is nice, but you kind of need to aim it, and you either, like, it's kind of iffy because you need to choose the target and auto attack it, and then wells are giving heal in a delay. Skill 3 and skill 2 are nice, but other than that you don't have much. Both Truth, you just drop it anywhere near a pylon, and the pylon is going from low HP to full HP. You have 2 charges of the skill, 20-second cooldown. You can precast it before greens, before Veil Guardian greens, and stuff like that, like big damage attacks you expect. Like, range huge, both range and AoE is huge. Those are the main 3 reasons, I would say. Aegis is nice, but Chrono has a lot of that as well. And you get decent amount of reflect uptime. Fights like Etherblade Hideout, like what's the name? Feedback is nice, but you basically have feedback without a utility skill, without without sacrificing a utility slot. You have another block here, and if you need, you have 50% uptime on Bubble, and you have also Sanctuary, which is a CC as well. Lower duration, not a reflect, but also really good reflect. And I think that's it basically.